everyone, Random Randy here, and this is Yarn Talk episode 7. Starting to lose count. So it has been a slow and painful last 2 weeks. The weather for the most part has been absolute garbage. I will actually, this evening, today is the something of March, it's Sunday, so this video will probably be going up this Wednesday, but I'm just now encoding and about to upload the episode that I filmed 2 days after my birthday, which was my birthday was February 18th, and I filmed the video on the 20th. So it's been a hot minute since I posted a video and I feel absolutely horrible. But I got to spend all day yesterday hiding in the craft room, organizing things. You'll notice that I'm in a slightly different area of the craft room. The background here will probably change a little bit in the next few videos because I'm still working out the logistics of how everything is set up, but holy crap, I actually have a floor. The things that are on the shelves and in the crappy plastic drawer systems that are dressers that are holding all of my accessory craft equipment are still works in progress, but a lot of the big stuff has been moved. I've gotten rid of a lot of things. It feels good to be able to breathe, but by the same token, I've been walled in by so much stuff for so long that I feel a little bit agoraphobic sitting in here. Not like the walls are closing in, but like the walls just keep getting farther and farther and farther and farther away, and it's kind of creeping me out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the remaining canvases that I have left from when Michael's had a big canvas value pack sale. I think they're 8x10 canvases, and I've got apparently 8 or 9 of them. 8 of them, so it must have been a pack of 10 because I know I've used 2. I'm not much of a painter and I'm not a super artistic person visually. I'm okay with a camera, I can take pretty pictures, but when it comes to drawing, I just never really had the patience to practice enough to get really good at it. So maybe I will start looking at some things about how to sketch certain shapes and whatnot. I live on Pinterest. Pinterest is my answer for everything. Who needs Google when you can just go on Pinterest and see a picture and go, ooh, that's what I want, as opposed to panning through 500 pages of stuff and still not getting it because you're not seeing what you're looking for, you know? So I think I'm gonna look up how to draw a few things, maybe sketch something out on one of the canvases. I have a ton of acrylic paints from when we painted Christmas tree ornaments 2 years ago. My son and I made cinnamon and clove scented cutout Christmas ornaments and painted them. Some of them made it to the tree, some of them are still sitting in a box because we seriously made a ton of them. So maybe some of the blank ones will get used this year for Christmas. But, so I'm gonna give painting a try. We'll see how that goes. I don't see myself becoming the next Picasso or Van Gogh or anything like that. I'm not really super that into it, but I feel like I need to do something to fill the space on the walls because it's echoey in here and I do not like that. So if the audio sounds kind of weird, or even if it sounds more clear, it's because there's a ton less junk in here. So I'm going to dive right into finished objects. There are not very many of them, I am ashamed to say, because I have been working on larger objects and I'm still not done with my socks. What the hell, Randy? Get it together. So my goal is to finish those this week. I'm actually up to the ribbing for the cuff portion on both of them. I've put them onto separate needles, but you'll get to see that later. So what I have done, I actually have 2 of these hats, but one of them is buried in a box, so I'm just going to show you the one that I have right with me. So I've been going through my bins of stuff, my scrap, essentially. The scrap that isn't really scrap, but it's like half of a skein of Red Heart Super Saver. By the way, Red Heart Super Saver goes a really, really long way. And don't rag on acrylic, because if you're donating items, you want it to be acrylic, because these people aren't gonna hand wash things. They're not going to be able to put things on delicate wool cycles in their washer or dryer. You want them to be able to clean them the easiest way they can when they are able to clean them and not have to worry about them falling apart. So I've started making hats to put together for donating, and I'm actually going to be going through a bunch of the other objects that I've made for my shop that have not sold again, and I'm going to be putting them all together and getting a big box of things to take down to one of the local shelters here. There are a bunch of them. Honestly, the homeless population in the semi-urban areas here crushes me every time we go out somewhere. Seeing people sleeping out in this cold and this rainy garbage, it crushes me, and I don't understand why people don't think that it's a problem or that somehow they're all to blame for it. But that's an entirely different thing that I'm not going to get into, because I could seriously go on and on about it forever. So this hat is made with Red Heart Super Saver. I want to say this black and white is called Zebra. It has a few gray stitches here and there, but there aren't very many. And the bottom portion is some leftover Deborah Norville fluorescent orange from the hat and mittens that I made for Hunter, and I still actually have a little bit of that left. So there's this hat, which is a woman to, well, I don't know if I want to say small man size, because I have kind of a big head and this is kind of loose on me. But yeah, this, I like the way that it swirls almost, the way the stripes coincide like that. But this is one of the things that's going to be going into the donation bin. I have another one that is just like it, but it's green on the bottom. It's the glowworm from Red Heart Super Saver. It's that neon green that I really, really like. I like contrasting darker colors with something bright, especially in case it gets set down somewhere. They'll be able to spot it quick and they won't lose it. Hopefully these will help keep somebody warm and dry. So there's that. This, I'm actually going to have to move the camera back, so bear with me for a second. Hopefully no one gets motion sick. And you're going to be able to see a little bit more of the chaos that is the currently shifting geography in this room. Alright. And this on my shirt, by the way, is a caffeine molecule, which is important not only to my existence, but to the existence of everyone around me. So this is a baby blanket that I made. I actually found the pattern for it just looking for kawaii things on Pinterest. Cutesy little baby things that are out of the norm, but they're not so weird that people are going to be like, what the hell were you thinking? So this is, oh my, I don't know if I can even get it in the whole shot. Okay, so this is, this blanket is called a Toasty Blanket, and it is a free pattern. And as you can see, it is, it's baby sized. It's, I think, about 30 by 30-ish, maybe 26 by 30 because it is rectangular. But it is made to look like a giant piece of toast. It has a little pad of butter here that is actually made with a chenille bubble yarn that I had. I think I talked about the ridiculously annoying bubble yarn that I had left in my last video. And he's got a cute little smiley face. But I made this for a friend of mine who is having her baby soon. And it is a piece of toast because long, long ago when we were young and got to do fun things, We played Vampire the Masquerade together, which is a tabletop RPG, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, but in a modern setting with obviously vampires and other critters of the night. And my character's sire was a Malkavian, and they are a clan who are chock full of mental disorders, and my sire Gylfi's disorder was schizophrenia, and he talked to a piece of toast that he had nailed to the wall. So the toast has kind of been a running gag between myself, my friend Vanessa, and my friend Jenna, who also played it with us, as well as our other friends Tina and Kat. And I don't remember if Jess ever played with us or not. I don't think that she did. I think we talked about it, but we could never get her away from her house because her mom was weirdly strict and thought that we were worshiping the devil. Well, me specifically, because I was, during puberty, gained a bit more weight than I wanted to, so I started wearing a lot of black because it made me not look quite as fat as I was. But apparently that means I'm Satan incarnate. Whatever. Not my problem. So there's the toast blanket and the charity hat. This is just about finished, so I guess you can call it a half-finished object. I really don't have anything else to do with it aside from put the face on it. So the same friend that the Toasty Blanket is for, because her daughter is going to be a scheduled early birth, I found a pattern for, you've probably seen the articles about them, the Preemie Octopus amigurumis that are a big charity thing that everyone is making now. So this little critter right here, this is how big it is. The curly tentacles that come off the end of it, and yes, there is a specific size that you're supposed to make them no longer than, so that it doesn't pose any sort of threat to the babies while they're in the incubators. But the tentacles, the way that they're all curly and squiggly and stretchy, actually have been shown to help improve respiration rate and heart rate and weight gain and all sorts of other health aspects for these babies that are in the NICU. So all I have to do now is put a face on this little guy, and this is going to be for that same friend and her baby for the hopefully short time that she will be staying in the hospital. I thought it was super cute. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do for the face yet. I know I'm going to embroider it on because buttons and safety eyes would be a bad idea. But just to get a little bit of a close-up. The pattern is super easy. I will actually link to it down below. It is in US crochet terms. It's all done in single crochet. The pattern actually calls for it to be done with fingering weight and a super tiny hook. I want to say it called for like a B or a C hook, but I did it with worsted weight yarn and a G hook because I crochet relatively tight. Essentially what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's tight enough that when you pull on it, that the stuffing in it doesn't poke through the stitches, because you know you don't want the babies to be munching on that or having it block their airways or anything horrific. So this little thing is super tiny. It was very quick. I started it last night. I could have finished it last night if I had been working on it earlier in the evening, but I wasn't. So it's just, I mean, you pretty much just crochet this long egg shape and you do it all in one piece. I mean, I suppose that you could tie off and attach a new tentacle each time, but I think sewing in all those ends would be a pain right in the rear. So you do that. It gives you instructions. Pretty much what you do is you do a single crochet, then you chain, for the way that I did it with a worsted weight yarn and a G hook, I chained 40 and then did 4 single crochets in the second chain from the hook and then 2 in each one down, and it just makes it curl like this. And when the tentacles stretch at max extension, they should not be more than, it was in centimeters because it was a pattern that somebody in Europe came up with. I want to say that when I did the conversion it was 7.8 something inches. So if you go about 7.5 with it, you're gonna be good. You just want to make sure that it's not long enough to get tangled around them. But aside from it reminding babies of clutching the umbilical cord when they were in the womb, it also keeps them from pulling out their monitors and pulling any cords or IVs that they have attached to them. So this is a really awesome thing. It's super quick to make, especially if you're a quasi-proficient crocheter. So like I said, I will leave the link for this down in the description box below, and they have a link to a photo tutorial with it, and they also have a link to how to make eyes for it if you're not sure, how to embroider on the face. I think it's a super cute idea. So there's that. And that is actually all that I have finished right now. So I have a half-finished object, which I'm not going to finish because I'm going to frog the top part of it, because to steal a descriptor from the Mean Girls Knit podcast, this is a Joe, or a jacked object. Jacked meaning it's totally effed up. So I started watching the A Crafty Crocheter channel, and Elizabeth does a lot of crocheting for charity. And she's been making a lot of mittens and beanies. I think she said that her goal this year is to donate something crazy and generous, like 100,000 grams of weight worth of items, which I think sounds absolutely bonkers, but more power to you, girl. You are awesome, and it's great that you are all about helping people the way that you do. So seeing all the mittens that she was doing, I was like, oh, those look like they'd be easy to do. So I found a few different patterns, tried some, messed around with them, didn't like the way any of them came out, so I was like, well, I know enough about how construction works in crochet, I should be able to make this work, right? I really don't like doing straight single crochet for mittens. It comes out too tight, and it's weird. Maybe it's just because I have really long hands, and no, I did not bother putting the thumb on this because I'm going to be ripping the top part out of it. But yes, here is my Joe. I like the cuff. The cuff I'm cool with. I'm happy with the cuff. The cuff is Grape Fizz from Red Heart Super Saver, but the actual mitten portion is made with a Hirschner's Worsted 8 big ball of yarn, just in black, and I don't like the way this turned out. Maybe it's just because it shows me how freakishly long and huge my hands are. I don't really like that. I did it in double crochet. I should have used a smaller hook to do double crochet. I probably should have used a G hook and it would have turned out better. As it is, I used an H. I used a 5mm hook, and there's when you stretch it, there's spaces in between, and you can feel the air go between the spaces, and that's not helpful. I mean, I can stick my fingers through some of these spaces, you know, it's not kosher. That's a no-go. So I'm going to be frogging that, the top portion at least. I'm going to be keeping the cuff because I have a small little bit of the Grape Fizz, so I thought I'd do the cuffs in purple and do the main body of the mitten in black because I have a ton of black. So that's what I'll be working on, is figuring out how to make this work. So hey Elizabeth, if you see this, if you could let me know where you got your pattern for your mittens or how you do it, that would be fantastic and awesome, because as great as I am at going off the cuff and just figuring things out on my own, for some reason mittens have got me totally stumped and I don't know why. So yeah, jacked object mitten of grossness that looks like an oven mitt. Work in progress. Like I said, I separated my socks onto 2 different needles now. So I'm gonna pull this a little bit closer so I don't have to stretch so far because I'm tall, but I'm not that tall. So my super long socks, they're not really super long, but I have giant feet. I wear size 9.5 to 11 in women's, depending upon the shoe. If it's a dress shoe that has a pointed toe, I usually have to get an 11, especially in boots. So this is what my sock looks like so far, and I'll get closer. You can see that I've started the ribbing for the cuff. There we go. And I've switched over to a size 2 Chowgu. I started this on a 4, and I'm making it on a smaller needle for the ribbing so that it will have a bit more stretch to it and be closer together. So there's one of them. I haven't started the ribbing on the second one yet, but I want to say that with these being tube socks, I think that it was 10 inches long before I started the ribbing. I have really big feet. And the foot, which I'm going to show off, and the toe portion, I'm not ashamed because this is my first pair and I don't care that they're imperfect. They are good enough for me to wear them, and that is really all that matters. I will make the next ones better, and that is all I can do. You will notice that the toe is vaguely funky looking. That is because you are supposed to do an increase row and then just knit all the way around in the next one and then do an increase. Me being the genius that I am, because I was already so frustrated by doing the cast on, which I had to do 3 times and rip it back out before I finally got it right and got it to stay. But I just did increases every row, and after this being my first time working with tiny yarn and tiny needles, when I got to that point, I said, you know what, the hell with it, I don't care. I'll just make it so it fits my foot the rest of the way, and so be it. It's all good. So there is that, which I really need to work on. Once I finish the octopus tonight, I have to, gotta work on that. What else do I have that I'm working on? I'm still working on my grandmother's blanket. It's a really easy stitch, but it gets very monotonous, so I lose interest in it very quickly. I can usually only do a stripe or 2 each night, and I don't know. I'm hoping that probably by summertime I should have that done. I don't see me getting it done quicker. My husband crochets, and he is a blanket making machine. I'm honestly kind of jealous of how fast he can kick out blankets. He'll just sit there while we're watching TV after the kids have gone to bed, and I'll be crocheting and so will he, or I'll be knitting, and he just kicks blankets out so fast, it's insane. He made, with the Bernat blanket yarn that the Toast blanket is made out of, he made blankets for his family for Christmas, and they are huge. He's like, oh, it's a throw blanket. I'm like, if it's big enough for 3 people to sit under it, it's not a throw blanket, dear. It's like a full couch blanket. But his family, mostly living in cold places, they were super ecstatic and excited to receive them. And he actually just finished a blanket for his grandmother that they just got this past weekend. Now he's working on another one that I think he's using yellow and blue, but he's got double-stranded worsted weight, and he's using an L hook, I think. And he's going to make it with the stripes vertical rather than horizontal, so it's really, really long right now. Not very thick, but he's working on it. So since I haven't had a lot of orders in this past week, I did have, it's really weird, I keep getting nothing for a week and then it'll be like, bang, I get 2 orders on the same day, and I'm like, holy crap, these are both made to order items. Why can't anybody buy my pre-made stuff? So I have to kick them out at the same time. and both get them out within 3 to 5 days, which is absolutely nuts. I don't know what I was thinking when I set that time for my custom orders on Etsy, but since I haven't really had any orders in a few days, I have time now to work on stuff. So I'm going to be finishing up the octopus, finishing my socks this week, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I want to make some more charity items. I'm thinking I'm probably still going to do hats because I have no idea what to do in terms of making mittens, and it's so ludicrous. I mean, I've looked at so many mitten patterns and I can't make it work. Maybe it's because I'm trying to make it to fit my hand and my hands are abnormal. I mean, my hands are the size of a small man's hand. My hands are almost as big as my husband's hands, and he's 6 feet tall and I'm only 5'8". So I have really, really big hands. But I can't make it work. Excuse me. I'm sure I'll figure it out. And hopefully somebody can help me. If you know of any good crochet mitten patterns, feel free to let me know in the comments. Free or paid. Preferably something that doesn't have a really complicated stitch pattern. I would love to be able to do crazy color work, but as far as making stuff for donations go, you pretty much just want to get them out as quick as possible. And even with spring coming, it's still pretty cold at night here. It's almost cold enough to freeze. So I'm hoping to get a bunch of stuff put together in the next few weeks to take to one of the shelters and find out what sorts of things they're looking for. Because it's always best to know what they're looking for instead of just taking a bunch of stuff and being like, here, and having them go, oh, okay, we've already got like 500 of those, but thanks for thinking of people, I guess. Overall, I am pleased with where this room is at right now, but it's very strange to me that there's so much open space. I think that's why I'm sitting here in the corner, huddled up by the table. It feels safer over here in the smaller, almost enclosed space, even though there's a mannequin right behind me wearing one of the tops that I made a million years ago when I first started making halter tops and bikini tops. That's actually one of the things that I'm hoping to get more of in my shop soon, because spring is coming, spring break is coming, summer is on its way. Hopefully they will be here soon. So I guess that is it for me for this episode of Yarn Talk. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to drop the video a like if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment if there's anything you'd like to say about it. If you have, like I said, a mitten pattern suggestion, free or paid, doesn't matter. If it's a decent paid pattern, I'm more than willing to drop a couple of bucks for it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more awesome content like this. And I am actually going to also leave a link to the A Crafty Crocheter channel, and the end screen you will see my face above subscribe, and you will also see a little icon for Elizabeth's channel. So go check her out. She's just starting out too. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.